So you've been running your coaching business for some time now, but I have to break the news to you. The reason why you haven't gone full time in your coaching business yet is because even though you've been showing up, you've been creating the content, your clients, your audience, they know they like you, but they just don't trust you yet. And the reason why you haven't gone full time is because you're not converting in your coaching business the way you would like to. In this episode of the Daily Dose, I'm going to be breaking down exactly the reason why your coaching isn't converting and how to actually fix it. I'm so excited to jump into another episode of the Daily Dose. My name is Janel Ranèe, and I help you to transition into coaching full time without chasing clients, without self sabotaging, or without sacrificing time with your family. Like, this is why you're building your business, to be able to have that time freedom and flexibility and be present with your children as you work out your purpose work and be prayed for it, right? And so the daily dose stands for divine overflow of spirit-led empowerment. So whatever the Lord puts on my heart, I go before him before I come before you. And whatever he puts on my heart is what I share in these daily episodes of the Daily Dose. And so we're going to be breaking down exactly the reason why your coaching is not converting. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be fixing it. And I have the reason for this live was because just recently I was driving, right? I'm driving and I'm on the highway. I'm actually exiting the highway and I see this van, right? This truck. It pulls up alongside me, and on the side of this truck, it literally says transmission repairs, right? It says transmission repairs. It doesn't say auto repair, right? It doesn't say mechanic shop. It doesn't say transition and more. It literally says transition repair. And it immediately spoke to me because I'm like, wow, that's exactly what coaches need. Like coaches need to have that clarity. Like, I think one of the reasons why you probably are still stuck in your 9 to 5 and you haven't been able to transition into your coaching business yet is because you're trying to solve too many problems, right? You don't have a clear strategy, like a clear transformation that you provide your clients, right? So you're showing up, you're creating the content, but you're not really hello, you're not really very direct and clear on exactly the transformation that your clients are going to have. And just like as this truck was so clear, it didn't say, oh yeah, we repair engines, we repair wheel alignments, we do windshields. Like, it didn't specify all of the components of a vehicle, of a car. It literally was very, very specific on transmission. And that's exactly why you need to be very, very specific on the transformation that you provide your clients as well as a coach. All right. Don't be trying to solve every single thing. If you're helping them lose weight, that is it, right? That's your thing. If you're helping them to budget, that's your thing. And so stick with that and stop trying to fix like every single area of their lives, because then you're going to be like, what do they call it? Like the jack of many trades, right? And the jack of many trades and the master of none. And so this is what builds that know, like, and trust factor. It's having a signature offer that you can create for your clients, a signature framework that you can walk your clients through. And this is what I've seen really expedite and bring so much clarity and direction and so much trust. And I'm going to be breaking down exactly the 3 ways that a signature offer and a signature framework, I should say more specifically, a signature framework is going to accelerate your business and lead to much more conversions in your coaching business. Okay. But before we jump into those 3 points, I do have a question for you. I really want you to take time and just think. Do you have a clear 3 to 5 step signature framework to lead your clients through? Because as a coach, you've gone before them, right? You're actually taking them through a process that you've actually lived, right? And so at least that's the way I teach my clients. And that's the way that's how I've built out my offer. It's what I've lived. It's my lived experience. I'm not just showing up here every day on the Daily Dose episode, just sharing stuff, just off of thin air, but I'm literally sharing stuff that I've actually lived through. And that's how I'm able to coach with such conviction, because it's what I've gone through. I've been able to experience it. And so there's a level of clarity there. And so we're going to be breaking it down, right? But I really want you, if you don't have a signature framework yet and you're a coach, I want you to consider creating one. And if you need help with that, that's exactly literally the first step of my CPR framework is I help you to get clarity on your calling, who you're called to serve, how you're called to serve them, and create your signature framework. That's the very first work we do inside of the Resign program, my signature program. So let's jump into it. So your signature framework, it brings clarity. It brings clarity. So the reason why, like I mentioned, the reason why you haven't been able to transition into coaching full time yet is because your audience, they're confused. They're so confused. Like they see you, you're showing up, you're creating the content, you're telling them, how you can help them, but you're not showing them. So telling them and showing them are two different things, right? You have to be able to show them like, okay, I have a 3 to 5 step process that I've gone through myself and that I've been able to help others go through, or this is exactly step 1, step 2, step 3 that I'm going to take you through, right? So this is the first thing we're going to do. This is the second thing we're going to do. And this is the third thing we're going to do to get you to that result that you desire. And so this is so imperative when you're marketing, because not only does it allow you to have the clarity when you're showing up, when you're marketing, it helps you to stick to your offer. It helps you to stick to what it is that you're actually promoting, right? It helps you with your marketing because you're not trying to just, exactly what area of your framework you're going to be talking about, right? Because you've mastered it, you've gone through it. And when you create a simplified structure, a framework that you can lead others step by step with, not only does it bring them clarity where they can see that transformation, a clear transformation, and increase their trust with you, but it also keeps you on track as well. When you're showing up and you're marketing your offer, you have a clear way of speaking about your offer. And so let me just look at my notes real quick. So without clarity, confusion kills conversion, right? So if your clients are confused, if your audience is confused, they're not going to buy. Confused people do not buy. And so it's so imperative that it's so important that you have who you help, how you help them, and the results that they'll get, right? And so when you package your transformation into a 3 to 5 step process, your signature framework, your audience immediately sees the journey. They see themselves walking through the journey and that you're about to take them on, and they see you as the leader to guide them. It builds trust because now they're like, oh my gosh, they have, like, I can see the path. You're literally creating a pathway for them. You're creating a roadmap. And the way in which I help my clients to build out their signature offer, their signature framework, is with my offer, which is the treasure trial framework. And so the treasure trial framework is literally a 5-step process, and it's very seamless, but it literally walks you through. It helps to guide you. The first thing we look at is a trial, right? What trial have you overcome? It's a trial that you triumphed over, and you're creating a trail. Your trail is your signature framework, right? You're creating a 3 to 5 step trail. You're like, and then you're going to create your testimony, like where you were, where you are now, and how you got there. And that's when the treasure comes in. So that's the treasure trial framework. So your trial that you triumphed over, you're creating a trail. So when you testify about it, you're saying, listen, this is the trial that I was in. I was able to triumph over it. And this is how I was able to triumph over it. So you're showing up, you're sharing your testimony on social media, and it's building know, like, and trust, because now they see a clear trail. They see a clear trail. They see a 3 to 5 step trail, right? That they can also follow to see that breakthrough that they want to see in their lives. And so that is how you're able to really bring that clarity. And once your audience has clarity, it takes the amygdala like off guard, right? So now their amygdala relaxes. They're no longer cautious. They're no longer like, oh, yeah. They're like, wait, no, they can actually help me. I can see how clear this pathway is. And so your signature offer brings clarity. The second point is your signature offer brings conviction. So like I mentioned before with my treasure trial framework, because it's something that you've gone through, it's a trial that you've actually triumphed over, there's a level of conviction. You're not just showing up and speaking about things that you just like happen to read in a book, but it's things that it's a process that you've actually gone through. It's what you've lived through. It's your lived experience. So now you're able to speak to it with such a level of conviction because it's an embodied belief, because you've lived it. It's embodied belief. And it's in that conviction, it's in that embodied belief that people are able to now believe that you're able to help them. And it's in the conviction because sales really is just a transfer of belief. Like if you truly are passionate about what you're speaking about, if you truly embody and believe what it is that you're talking about, people are going to feel that. That conviction cannot lie. Your energy when you show up and you're speaking about this is going to be top notch. And that is the transfer. That is the belief transfer that leads to sales. Okay. That is exactly what leads to sales. And so you speak with more fire and certainty. You're teaching what you've actually lived through. And that's the power of using my treasure trial framework to guide you, right? To guide you, to help you, and to build out your own framework. It's a powerful tool. So many women have gone through it. Like literally, I did a challenge last year, and within 3 days, these women had their frameworks. Okay. And now I've actually customized it. I have a customized GPT that actually helps you to do it even faster. And so I'm telling you, this treasure trial framework is really going to help you. And so when you speak from your life, your lived experiences, this enables your mirror neurons, and your audience can now feel it activates your audience because now they feel your energy. They feel themselves in your story. They see themselves in your story when you're sharing your testimony and the trial that you were in and how you've triumphed over it. When you're able to do that, it literally activates and the energy aligns with your clients. And this is what's going to magnetize your audience to want to work with you, right? Because of that level of conviction and clarity. And so the third point on why your signature offer is your signature framework is so important is because it brings conversion. So your audience now has clarity. They see a clear path, right? For you to take them from their pain over into the pleasure. You can take them over from the hell that they're living in over into the heaven that they desire to be in, right? And now they see that there's clarity. You're showing up, you're marketing with a level of conviction because it's your lived experience. You have certainty that your clients will see results if they follow this path because it's the same thing that you've done. And then third is conversions. When you're showing up with that clarity and conviction, that's what leads to conversions. That's what leads to the conversions, right? And so, so thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So when you have this structure, when you have this framework, it's your structure that converts as well, right? So when your program is built around a clear framework, clients trust the process. It removes the guesswork. They're no longer doubting or thinking like, oh, wait, how's this going to work for me? Maybe it worked for you, but is it going to work for me? Like they'll see it removes the guesswork. It elevates the perceived value and makes selling seamless because people don't just buy sessions. You're no longer just selling a bunch of one-off sessions, but they're buying systems that actually solve the problem that they're looking to be solved. They're buying systems that's going to help them solve the problem. All right. Because that's essentially what it is. They have a problem and your offer, your business is what solves that problem for them. That is essentially why you even started your business, is to help others, right? It's to solve problems for others. And so this is the work. This is exactly the work that I do and that I help you to achieve inside of my CPR framework that I mentioned. So as a registered nurse turned business coach, I remember when I was actually transitioning and I was like, Lord, but what's going to happen with all my skills? You start to question, you're like, but God, like I worked so hard, obviously, for my degree and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have my CPR, and my CPR certifications, my BLS certifications, and all these things. And so in my alone time with the Lord, I remember him so distinctly saying, Janelle, I'm transitioning you from physical CPR to spiritual CPR because my body is dead and I need you to revive them. And so when I was stuck in my 9 to 5 and I felt like the walls were confining me, I was a nurse. I was making really good money. I was already making six figures as a registered nurse, especially during COVID, like was making really, really good money. But I felt very, very confined in the four walls of the hospital. But unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize at the time that God, the reason for um, that void, like I had a void in the pit of my stomach. And I'm like, God, like this is my dream career. Like if I'm not going to be nursing, what am I going to do? But I didn't know that God, the reason why the four walls of the hospital were felt confining is because God was calling me to the four walls of the world. And through YouTube, I've been able to coach women all over the world. South Africa, Qatar, Germany, Canada, like all over. And I'm just like, I would have never been able to do that if I did not take that step of faith and truly trust and what God was leading me to do. Right. And so my the reason why it's CPR is because the Lord, that's what the Lord gave to me. It's like literally, he's like, I'm transitioning you from physical CPR because as a registered nurse in the ER, I initiated CPR several times, right? Dozens of times. And so I was transitioning from physical to spiritual. And so my CPR framework, the first step is realign with your creator for clarity on your calling. And this is where we craft your signature framework. It's so important I always direct everyone to to our creator, because only your creator can tell you why he created you. Okay, we're back. I lost my Wi-Fi for a second there. I hope we got that last point, but we're going to move on to the next one. So that's the very first step, is realigning with your creator for clarity. And this is where, in that very first step, is where we're building out your signature framework, right? Because your calling is who you're called to who you're called to serve, how you're called to serve them in this time frame, right? Because your purpose is really what God is calling you. So I was called to nursing for a season of my life, and God now is calling me, has then since called me into coaching, right? And so there's certain callings that God will call you and nudge you to step into. And so when you realign with your creator for clarity on your calling, it's like, okay, God, who am I serving with my signature framework? How am I serving them? Right? And what am I helping them to achieve? Right? And so that's the very first thing in the CPR framework. The second thing that we walk through is refining your messaging to align with your purpose. And this is done through story selling formula. So if you notice, like I never run out of content ideas. Like I never run out of content ideas. Once I learned and discovered the story selling formula, I'm able to pull inspired content from anything. Like today, I'm literally at the very beginning of this live, I mentioned how I was just driving on the highway and I saw a car that said transmissions, and it sparked like, oh yes, this is exactly what coaches need. They need clarity on exactly what they're offering their clients. And so for me, I help my clients to go full time in their coaching business without chasing clients, without self-sabotaging, or without sacrificing time with their family. So I'm very clear on who I serve and how I serve them and how I get them there with my CPR framework. And so story selling, you'll never run out of content ideas. And not only that, when you sell with stories, it speaks to the limbic system of the brain. People can feel themselves in your story, right? And this is what sells. It's stories that sells, because it's belief shifting content, belief shifting messaging, because it bypasses the prefrontal cortex and speaks directly to the emotions. People buy from emotions, and then they justify it with logic after the purchase. But it's really important to refine your messaging to align with your purpose work, because we're not just out here just talking and repeating like a parrot everything everyone else is saying. No, we're speaking from our aligned purpose. What did God purpose me to speak about? What am I supposed to be talking about? Right? And so when you're speaking from a place of purpose and passion, this is what's going to lead to conversions. And then finally, the third phase in my CPR framework is revive your business with purpose-driven revenue. So we set up a simplified sales funnel for you. It's a beautiful, smooth top of funnel that works for you and your family. A middle of funnel, a one-to-many presentation, right? That sells your process, that you walk through your process with people with. And then you're leading everyone to your signature offer. And this is another thing that I help you to do. We accomplish in the very first phase of my CPR framework. Not only do you get your signature framework, but you get your signature offer, a premium offer, right? So that you're able to transition into coaching full time. And as you're building this out, each stage of this, we're working on your belief system, we're regulating your nervous system. And I go deeper into exactly how I help you to do that inside of my Call to Coach workshop. If you know God is calling you to coach and you know you want to go full time in your coaching business, I want to really encourage you to sign up for the Call to Coach workshop. I did it live yesterday. So if you missed that, you missed a huge thing, but you can get access to the replay. And I am going to be doing it again next week live. And so if you know you've been called to coach and you want to transition into your coaching business full time, I advise you to sign up for that Call to Coach workshop. All right. Sign up for the Call to Coach workshop. I'm going to be breaking down the 3 secrets on how you can finally transition into your business full time. We're going to be covering the biggest mistake most coaches are making that keeps them stuck in their 9 to 5. We're going to be breaking down how to regulate your nervous system so that you can be able to handle and sustain success as you're growing your business, even if you're constantly on the go. Right? You're constantly on the go. You're still working your 9 to 5. You have your children and you're still growing this business on the side. You probably feel like, you're in survival. And so I teach you how to regulate your nervous system and to really even be able to dictate which sense of what you're currently experiencing, right? Are you in fight mode? Are you in flight mode? Are you in freeze or fawn? As a registered nurse, I'm able to help you and guide you to be able to identify how you're dysregulated and be able to regulate in real time. Okay? Because this is what's going to allow you to sustain the business success that you're seeking. And then we're going to be breaking down how to make massive sales, even without a massive audience. We're going to be breaking down exactly how to do that, right? I don't have a massive audience, but I still get sales consistently. Why? Because of I'm going to reveal it inside of the workshop. And so go ahead and sign up for that workshop and I will see you next week. I will be live next week. So I'll see you next week inside of that workshop. I pray that this daily dose has been a blessing to you. This is the reason why your coaching isn't converting. And this is exactly how to fix it. All right. I love you and I'll see you in the next daily dose. I'm going to tell you just as God told me, put one foot in front of the other, step out on faith and trust God for the next step. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.